When you lie on your bed in the windless dark of night, watching the moonlight cut into mottled shards by the curtains, your brain may still be tossing and turning over the clamor and regrets of the day. Yet, the most famous counterintuitive miracle in the history of biological evolution, and the most fascinating ultimate riddle, coldly tells us that at the very bottom of those cold, turbid rivers on Earth that see not a single ray of sunlight, a silent spiritual practice lasting 200 million years is actually taking place. If we turn our gaze toward that deep-water world filled with unknown silt, you will not see a single shred of modern species impatience. You will only see an extraordinarily peculiar frame, akin to a mythical creation, gliding gently through the ultradark aquatic depths with eyes closed. It does not rely on sight, it does not depend on hearing, and at the very instant it plunges beneath the water, it seals its eyes, ears, and nostrils tightly inside the folds of its skin, completely severing all direct contact with the external physical world. The silent roaming of the platypus, tactile potentials at the bottom of dark rivers. Today, it is no longer a comical summary about primitivity and degeneration in a science journal, but an ultimate meditative lullaby left by nature for the night and for insomniacs. Tonight, accompanied by the gently flickering hearth and this story you need not effortfully remember, let us step into its true life. In this micro-wandering of extreme self-restraint at the bottom of dark rivers, all daytime anxieties and impetuousness will be ruthlessly washed away by the vastness of the timescale, leaving behind only the ultimate serenity, destiny, and tenderness. The first fracture of destiny in our story unfolds during a bitterly cold dusk, where the air faintly bears the crisp fragrance of eucalyptus and a chilly wind brushes across the water's surface. It is a slow-moving, pristine stream nestled on the eastern edge of the Australian continent, where ancient ferns along the banks cast long, low-saturation dark gray shadows into the night. A 3-year-old platypus, petite in size, refined in features, and covered entirely in dense, waterproof fur like a sea otter, squats quietly on the soft, damp gray mud of the bank. Its flat, leathery black bill rhythmically touches the water, stirring up circles of extremely faint, beautifully delicate ripples that are regular almost to the point of hypnosis. Within the ancient physiological world inside its body, one of nature's most wondrous prompts for sleep is quietly occurring. Unlike terrestrial mammals whose blood boils and heartbeats skyrocket for the chase, its core biological clock secretes an intensely restrained, introverted hormonal stream throughout its frame. Through the baptism of 200 million years, its basal metabolic rate has been actively pressed down to an unimaginably low trough, supreme, most tender physiological retreat made after seeing through how worldly laws exploit life. The dusk deepens, and at the exact split second the last glint of twilight is completely swallowed by the shadows of the flowing water, its feet push off gently. With an exquisitely elegant motion that makes not a single splash, it glides smoothly into the dark, freezing depths of the underwater world. At that precise instant, the skin folds on its face spontaneously tighten, enveloping and sealing away its eyes and ears perfectly. Its vision vanishes into a pure, absolute blackness, and its ears can no longer catch the land's wind and clamor. It surrenders itself entirely to this dark river, discarding all the arrogance of modern high-energy senses, relying solely on that specialized bill swaying gently from side to side in the current to begin a midnight silent cruise wholly independent of the sun. Once the floodgates of its senses are completely shut, the small platypus's seemingly clumsy black bill unveils a miracle of slow aesthetics that transcends the limits of human imagination within the dark. Riverbed silt. This is a tapestry of time carved out by nature's most rigorous physical laws. Across the leathery, soft skin of its bill are densely distributed a staggering 40,000 incredibly sensitive electroreceptors, alongside tens of thousands of precise mechanical tactile receptors. As it glides along the turbid, freezing river bottom with an exceptionally regular, side-to-side swaying gait, these receptors capture minute potential difference changes of 1/10,000,000th of a volt in the surrounding water with a voiceless frequency. Within its microscopic realm, the ultradark river floor is actually an intensely gorgeous, orderly starry sky woven from faint electrical currents. A tiny shrimp a few centimeters away in the mud gently twitches a muscle, releasing a sliver of a biological electrical signal into the current, and this signal instantly sparks a gentle ripple within the grid of the bill. It has no need to open its eyes or discern the color of its neighbor. Through 200 million years of forbearance and evolution, its cerebral cortex long ago mastered decoding these faint potential differences into panoramic maps of the riverbed, brimming with geometric beauty and absolute certainty. It drifts through this dark gold castle woven of currents and aquatic white noise, every movement slowed to the absolute limit, devoid of any haste, devoid of any aggression. It merely yields to the will of gravity and flowing water, breathing silently within the crevices of each sedimentary rock. Time slows its steps completely here. The epochal shifts and the rise and fall of civilizations upon dry land manifest in the center of this icy riverbed mud merely as a subtle dissipation of a 10 millionth of a gram in the decay rate of a fallen leaf on the surface. Like a refined elder who has weathered the ages and seen through the disillusionment of fame and wealth, it quietly recalibrates its heart rate with every slow sweep of the water ripples, turning this 200 million-year-old body into a miniature oasis of self-healing, covered in fine gray fur, drifting in the perpetual night. To truly perceive the secret of life wrapped beneath this deep water and earth, we must pivot our perspective to the most poignant milestone of its existence, filled with the tension of fate and power, the late autumn vigil of brooding. During the annual breeding season, the mother platypus, elegant in form, with melancholy eyes, will alone dig out a deep, damp subterranean tunnel spanning up to 20 meters into the bank sloping by the stream. At the very end of this tunnel lies a deeply warm, secure chamber lined with decaying leaves. To shelter her two precious, ancient eggs, whose shells are as soft and pliable as leather, from the ruthless compression of external predators, she uses her flat tail to beat the damp earth firm, inch by inch. She erects several sturdy barricades within the tunnel, completely severing herself from the bustling world outside. This is an ultimate cloistered meditation lasting several weeks, unwritten by a single word, pushing a mother's love, ordered with human-like logic, to its absolute peak. In the darkest depths of the mud bed and tree burrow, shielded from the sun, she presses the two eggs tightly against her warm abdomen, using her own core heat to counter the biting terrestrial chills seeping from the soil. In that cramped space, the conventional concept of time undergoes a transformation close to a miracle. She possesses no hard eggshells or incubator like ordinary birds. She can only use her own endurance and flesh to bear the unceasing pressure of the dark, until two tiny, semi-translucent hatchlings, no larger than peanuts, break through. In the subsequent nursing phase, what inspires even deeper awe and tenderness is that, as a member of the ancient order Monotremata, her body never evolved any teat structures for suckling. The surface of her refined belly fur, much like a human secreting sweat during a state of deep relaxation, lets rich, milk-white fluid, brimming with antibacterial factors, ooze out with extreme slowness and restraint through specialized glandular pores. The two tiny joeys keep their eyes closed, resting upon her warm belly with utter submission and deep attachment, licking away these drops of primeval nectar as they stream through the fur. In this voiceless, sweet-scented micro-oasis, they pass the spark of life down through the generations. This subterranean lineage, rife with relational tension and clashing with the outer epoch, carries no announcements and makes not a single sound. The mother silently bears the toll of exhausted stamina, her every breath carving out a tender domain for her young so they are not wholly consumed by absolute darkness, forging physical pain into the most unyielding, long-lasting confession on this planet amidst frigid silence. The most profoundly healing and reassuring aspect of the platypus's silent roaming lies in its absolute equity and eternal stillness, which transcend all human social structures. In the year 2026, no matter how unimaginably high the technology of human society has climbed, and no matter how secular utility, fame, and anxiety cause souls to toss and turn in the dead of night, unable to find rest, this slow-moving life dwelling at the dark river bottom keeps the tactile potential frequencies within its body synchronized to that exact same intensely slow, intensely restrained unique beat from 200 million years ago. Right at this moment, in this room so quiet you can only catch the faint murmurs of shifting water, and in every corner of this building, nature's purest aesthetic of survival transforms into a psychological prompt steeped in a sense of attachment, softly stroking your taut cerebral cortex and soothing your anxious heartstrings. That tiny platypus has no need to prove its might in a storm, nor tremble over tomorrow's direction. It simply accepts the limitations of its physical frame with equanimity, choosing to shut down all its external senses every single night, surrendering itself completely to this icy river that has embraced it for millennia. Its every faint heartbeat, its every slow glide across the mud bed, telepaths an anchor of absolute acceptance to the midnight insomniac. It's all right. Now is the time to rest. You can safely close your eyes, and shut away your sight and hearing. No matter how chaotic the world becomes, the ultradark aquatic floor forever preserves its most certain tranquility and self-healing. Before such a grand, unyielding, and eternal ecological law, all the gains and losses we cling to during the day, the anxieties, regrets, and pains that strip us of our sleep, reveal themselves to be utterly insignificant, like a single speck of gray dust drifting down upon the oceanic riverbed, vanishing in a flash. Like an elegant elder who has witnessed the rise and fall of space and time, it whispers tenderly in your ear during every lonely night, using a near-static evolutionary rhythm of 200 million years. Lay down your defenses. Return all your tension back into the ultra-slow cadence of nature. Everything is well, everything will pass. Through a silent voyage and physiological endurance spanning 200 million years, it proves that the complete shutting away of senses and self-retreat stand as the most ultimate, long-lasting ancient self-healing aesthetic in this cold world. As the midnight tides gradually smooth over every rise and fall of the entire river, that silent roaming ball unfolding at the bottom of the dark waters will ultimately meet its most gentle nocturnal curtain drop. Over the coming hours, that gentle hermit, having catalogued tens of thousands of potential perceptions beneath the surface, will completely cease its slow cruising along the margins of the mud bed. Following familiar lines of gravity, it will return deep within that dim tree burrow blanketed in layers of dry grass and fallen leaves, dangling its limbs in the most relaxed posture to slip into a deep torpor lasting over a dozen hours. The entire frigid underwater space will harbor no further stirrings. Only those threads of faint bioelectric particles emanating from the skin of its bill will quietly disperse through the icy water, releasing a delicate, subtle fragrance touched with the lingering warmth of fallen leaves and ancient snows, wrapping you and this weary world together in silence. The silent roaming of the platypus, tactile potentials at the bottom of dark rivers, she has answered all the ultimate riddles regarding the rhythm of survival posed in the prologue. She proves that we are never orphans who appeared by chance in the lonely dark, but beautiful notes destined to emerge within this 200 million year-long symphony of the earth. The world has grown perfectly still. The moonlight outside your window, moving in tandem with the blood circulation inside your body, weaves a shroud of dim light and shadow, safest and most reassuring, within your room. There is no need to ponder where the destination of growth lies, nor fret over when tomorrow's wind and rain will cease. You only need to align with the ancient, regular, slow heartbeats of these creatures from the deep and completely relax your breathing. The story has gently come to rest. That river lullaby, performed in concert by silt and tactile potentials, echoes softly inside your mind. Please close your eyes, and sink peacefully into this deepest, most tranquil dreamscape woven for you by a platypus. Good night.